This week's recipe, I'm doing a white layer cake with vanilla buttercream, and I might include a strawberry rhubarb sauce. I already have the sauce made, but I will try to find a recipe for that. For the cake, you'll need a white cake mix, salt, egg whites or eggs, sour cream, butter, flour, milk, almond or vanilla extract, and sugar. For your equipment, you're going to need a large bowl, 8 or 9 inch cake pan. You could also do this as cupcake, spatula, and a hand mixer. Okay, so the first thing I did is I mixed my dry ingredients together in a bowl. The recipe doesn't say you have to do that, but I wanted to mix them by weight. If you do your ingredients by weight, it's going to be more precise than if you do it by volume. So I have my flour, my sugar, and my salt in this bowl. I have my cake mix in this other bowl here, my big bowl. So I'm just going to combine these together. So now I've mixed all the wet ingredients into a bowl. You don't need to mix it into a separate bowl. I'm just being really fussy about my weights on this one. So I have here melted butter, sour cream, milk, egg whites, and almond extract. Just going to mix this in with the dry, and then I'm going to use my hand mixer for 2 minutes to blend it. So if you fold it together, it just lets the dry ingredients get some moisture on them so that it doesn't turn into a big cloud of smoke when you put in the blender. All right, I mixed that with a hand mixer for 2 minutes on medium. Now I'm going to pour this into my pan. I put parchment paper on the bottom of the pan so it doesn't stick too much. Okay, so this is about half the cake mixture in here. I'm going to pop it in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. Here's the first layer. I took it out of the oven after 35 minutes. It is light brown around the edges. It's starting to pull away from the pan. And if you put a skewer in the middle, it comes out totally clean. So that means this guy is done. I'm going to let it rest in the pan for 20 minutes. That will help it to pull further from the edges so it's easier to get out. Cake is cooled. I took the sides off. I have a spring form, so the sides just come off, which makes it nice and easy. Now, I want the bottom to be facing up, so it's nice and flat. So I'm going to take my plate, put it over the cake, grab the cooling rack. I'm going to be real smooth about this. Voila. Layer 1 is complete. I'm going to put him in the freezer. Okay, so I froze my cakes after I baked them. I left the parchment paper on in between so they wouldn't stick together. But I want to show you when you pull off the parchment paper, you don't want to just pull straight up because you see how it pulled away some of the cake? You want to pull it flat. If you go at an angle like that, it won't pull off as much cake. And now I'm going to put on my layer of strawberry rhubarb sauce in between the 2 layers of the cake. You don't want to go all the way to the edges because then it will spill over and make a mess. And I will give you a recipe for a strawberry rhubarb sauce if you want to make it. It's also really good on crepes. Almost to the edges. Don't get too crazy with it, because when you put the other layer on, you can push down and then it will get it all the way to the edges. I'm going to put my layer upside down so that the flat part is on top. For this cake, I'm making a Russian buttercream frosting. For this, we need sweetened condensed milk, butter, vanilla, and just a touch of salt. For the tools, I'm going to use my stand mixer. You can also do this with a hand mixer. Okay, I've mixed the butter for a little over 5 minutes on medium-high. I added a teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and kept on mixing it. You can see it's turned basically white, which is what we want. So now I'm going to start adding that in. I'm going to do it in like 4 parts and let it mix a little bit between each. Okay, I'm not great at icing cakes. I'm just going to tell you that to begin with. I did put my frosting in the fridge for about 10 minutes because it was getting a little bit warm. The first thing you want to do is a real thin layer just to catch all the crumbs. And they actually call it the crumb layer. So we're going to do a very thin layer, kind of work in a circle, and then we're going to put them in the fridge for 15 minutes. Then we'll come back and do this for real. So what you want to do is just get a big dollop of icing on top, and then you smooth it out. And then once you have the top coated, you just start working around the corners and down the sides. There. Just go real gentle with the bench scraper. It'll smooth out your sides. Here's a low spot. I'm just going to fill that in with some more icing. Back over it with the scraper. Look at how nice that looks. The icing on the plate, and get that with a wet paper towel. This is vanilla sour cream cake with strawberry rhubarb filling and Russian buttercream.